What is going on, everybody? It is officially, as it says right in the title there, officially the offseason for the Minnesota Vikings after missing the playoffs, falling to the Lions yesterday in Detroit. Yeah, man, very frustrating season. And I think for the most part, most of us fans can say you hate to wish the football season away, but you're kind of happy it's over at this point.
Yeah. Hey, let me do some shout outs here. We got Gary in the building. What up, Gary?
Of course.
The McAndrews. What's going on, McAndrews? Joey Hawking. Hey, man, we missed you last week, bro. We missed you last week. Minnesota Sports Talk with Al Smith, School for Life Barber. Let's go. I see everybody's talking about the game tonight. We'll dive into that a little bit later for sure. Obviously, we made a video. I think our last video was based on that specifically because we think we're going into this offseason looking for a quarterback of the future. There's going to be some interesting things along the way, man. I think this offseason in general is going to be, kind of feels a little all over the place, and you really don't. A lot of question marks. But one I want to bring up right away is one I don't think is a question mark, and I do think that is going to be Kevin O'Connell's and Quezzy's jobs. What's your thoughts on this whole Kevin O'Connell, Quezzy, and the comments? Where you guys at with Quezzy and Kevin O'Connell? What does everybody think on this situation?
I don't know. I get it. It's frustrating. 13-4 at the bottom of the division. Yeah, it sucks. But the fact that people are ready just to freaking give Kevin O'Connell the axe after everything he's gone through this year. Like, yes, there are some questionable things, but he's been this okay. Being a head coach in the NFL sucks. It's a shitty job, right? Like you can tell looking at him during his press conferences. This season is weighing on him. Like you can just see in his eyes. You can see in his hairline even. Like this season was getting dim, of course. I mean, it's a tough job. But the fact that people want him to come out with all the injuries and be perfect and still win the division is absolutely ridiculous. Like, yes, he has things to learn, but year 3, as it is with quarterbacks, is a big year for head coaches. So I think I want to give him an opportunity to find his guy, to keep his team healthy and move forward into the future. And I think next year is going to be very telling for Kevin O'Connell, because yes, we will need to see some improvement from play calling and a little bit game management perspective, which I think we saw a little bit this year as well. But I don't know, the fact that he was able to keep this team as focused as they were for as long as they were this season and basically in the playoff hunt, I'm impressed with. Yeah, the Green Bay game you wish would have been a little cleaner. Maybe the team, knowing that they were in control of their own destiny again, would have came out and played a little harder. But I don't know, man. I just think calling for Kevin O'Connell's job at this point is stupid. I'm just going to put the word out there. I think it's stupid.
I agree. I mean, 13-4, in my opinion. I know people will say like, oh, he got carried by JJ. And hey, what's going on, Mick? Whoever's responsible, if they re-sign Cousins, should be fired on the spot. We're going to get into him in a little bit too. That have been a cap held through. Give him time. Hey, I actually have a couple of tweets we're going to dive in. That's going to answer both of your guys' questions a little bit here. But with KOC specifically, the 13-4 season, I think, and everybody's saying like, oh yeah, he was carried by Cousins coming back in these games. In my opinion, I think like Cousins was never known as being a guy who comes back in games. Mm-hmm. Like that was one of his things about him, big moments, coming back in games, all that stuff. All of a sudden he partners up with Kevin O'Connell and he breaks the record for the most comeback or most games coming back or whatever, including the record for the biggest comeback in NFL history. And so, I mean, you can put that all on. What up, Steve?
What's going on, Steve?
Welcome in, dude.
Resident Packers fan dropping in. Love to see it.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, that's like one thing. So I mean, Kevin O'Connell did great things with Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can say the same thing with Kevin O'Connell, but one thing for sure, Kirk Cousins' best stretch in his entire career was with Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
And I do assume, I do expect that with any quarterback that we have moving forward, as long as Kevin O'Connell has the time to either, build his system around that player or have that guy fit into his system already.
Right. And that's a good point you brought up there. Cause like everybody wanted him to make gold out of Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and 5th round pick rookie Jaren Hall, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that frustrates me is I get it. Like, the bye week probably could have came up with a little bit better game plan because the plan obviously started Josh Dobbs going into Vegas. I mean, I think first off, that was I think he wanted to see if he could get Josh Dobbs' mind right. I think that was his next step as a head coach, which I get. Mm-hmm. But also like the fact people wanted him to implement a completely new like implement plays for Josh Dobbs. You know how hard it is when you work from literally basically since he got here year one through OTAs with running the same system, and then you expect him within like 2 weeks to switch it up for different quarterbacking and add in new verbiage and stuff. Like I just don't I don't know. I just don't see the criticism that, he couldn't get Josh Dobbs right. He couldn't draw up plays for Josh Dobbs. Like, yeah, you can't expect him to change the entire playbook in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's I think
quarterback that and I think, and you brought up another good point. Him and Kirk Cousins, I just think that's a really good. And again, this isn't me advocating for Kirk for the future. It's not. But I just think him and Kirk are a good match because I do think Kevin O'Connell needs a guy who can stand tall in the pocket and make throws when he needs to. And I think the added benefit of the future, if he gets a quarterback that can move, is only going to help him. But yeah, I just think I don't know, man. I just don't understand the criticism that he couldn't get Josh Dobbs to be a better quarterback.
I think some people
have been able to do that up to this point.
Yeah, listen to Gary here. Everybody hit that like button. Unfortunately, I was looking for a card today, and I have to buy more. Gary's been winning them all, so I'm gonna have to look into some more. So it might be a couple weeks before I get some more cards, but I'm gonna start trying. I just got back into all my card stuff a little bit more. So I'm hoping to kind of get some good things for this offseason. Especially, I mean, hey, I want to get some rookie cards of whatever quarterback we end up deciding to choose as well. So, but yeah, no, back to this whole thing is that's one thing. A lot of people, they just seem, they just seem to ride this wave of like when things are good, hey, like this is the best guy out there. And as soon as things are bad, then it's like, all right, fire him, whatever. Like no patience. Just no patience. Like even when they're really good, like, pull off the gas a little bit. Like you do have to still see, like, I mean, Kirk Cousins, for example. And I'm not going to go too deep, but I mean, he's a guy too. Like when he's balling out, like I do think to some extent he deserves to like pull, like he has that really good San Francisco game. So everybody thinks like, oh, he's just going to play like that for the rest of the year, going to playoffs, play like that. But then also when he has a bad game, then everybody's like, all right, like trade them, whatever. And it's just like this wave people want to go up and down on instead of like just kind of just looking at it as a whole. And with Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi, but especially Kevin O'Connell, I do think he has a fair excuse this year. Like last year, everybody was like, all right, he's going to be the guy of the future. This year, obviously his play calling wasn't great. There is some things with him, like especially for me, not starting Chandler earlier and not really giving him a chance when it was extremely obvious. Obviously it's easier said than done, but extremely obvious that he was the guy instead of Madison once we got him as a starter, to the point where some people are probably not feeling like we don't need a running back in this offseason and feel confident going into next year with Ty Chandler. But so there's things like that, but he does have a really good excuse. And whether people, I don't know, don't want to hear excuses or whatever, but I mean, his backup quarterbacks had, I think it was, I put it somewhere.
17 combined turnovers or something.
Yeah, 17 combined turnovers, something like that from your backup quarterbacks. Like, what are you supposed to do as a head coach when that's happened? That's not really on him.
Right.
Well, really on him.
Well, and you look yesterday. I mean, you looked yesterday. A lot of it, like Nick Mullins was Nick Mullins. Let's be honest. Other than his turnovers, he'd been like executing this offense really well and slicing and dicing up defense.
Right. Other than the turnovers
against Detroit, he threw for like 700 yards over 2 games. It's absolutely nuts. And then like you even look at like Kirk Cousins when things started to kind of finally come around. He was like against 49ers, against the Packers, making throws all over the field. In Jaren Hall's start, everybody was blaming him for not putting Jaren Hall in better position. Jaren Hall had 3 guys wide open, just didn't make the throws. Like his offense can be good, but again, and Cap Hell, it's another thing for sure that we'll get into. But it's like, does he need to be more consistent? Yes. Like as you say, does he need to learn how to coach with a lead? Yes, absolutely. Like there's things he needs to grow with, but you got to remember, 2nd year full-time play caller and 2nd year full-time head coach. Like it's gonna take some time, and he's shown the flashes to where you can't quite give up on the guy just yet.
No, that's great. To me, it's insane for people to say he's just not the guy. Like I think he deserves. I think no matter what, if you hire a coach, unless it's like an absolute disaster and it's just obvious, like the players don't like him and all that kind of stuff. But I think you got to give him a few years, and especially when it's like a GM coach combo type of situation, because obviously it's going to take some time, especially because of the cap hell for Kwesi to come in here and, turn everything around that he was left with, Rick Spielman left him with. And that's like the thing with Kwesi. And I think that it's also for him where I don't think it's fair for him to get all the scrutiny he does with being in that situation. Though I do think it is fair to say he hasn't been the best drafter yet. He has definitely not been in the first year was trash. It was trash. We got to see a lot more from Andrew Booth though. So I mean, there's some things with him that
and Ty Chandler are basically the only two that have had any significant playing time from that.
Ed Ingram and Ed Ingram.
Well, Caleb Evans, but
and Caleb Evans.
So, yeah.
So not great the first year. The second year, obviously Addison was hit. Everybody's going to say it's KOC or KOC's guy or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're a GM. As a GM, you're going to find people like your head coach and ask what they like. And ultimately you make that decision. So you're taking other people's ideas and ultimately coming down to a decision. So it doesn't matter if it's just your guy or if it's Kevin O'Connell's guy or who guys it is. Because ultimately you took that advice and thought it was worth enough to you that you went off and got your, a guy in Jordan Addison. Obviously the Ivan Pace thing too. That's not really a draft pick still. It was Ivan Pace came out and said why he picked the Vikings, and it was because the Vikings were the first one to call immediately after the draft and offer him a contract. So he didn't waste any time. He knew Ivan Pace was his guy, and he went out and grabbed him. And obviously there is some luck there because we did pass on him how many times, whatever. And then Mekhi Blackmon, I do like what we've seen from him. All the other guys, we need to see more from Jay Ward, but there's a bunch of rookies. Who knows how they'll do moving forward here. But so I do think that's fair, though. I do think it's going to take some time because salary cap and everything to kind of make this team the way that Kwesi wants to. And It's the whole idea of, competitive rebuild thing. And you've seen us try to stay competitive in that, but we haven't really seen the real rebuild of this situation. And with this year creating more cap space potentially. And then also, being in a top 11 pick and having like an idea that, or I feel like it's definitely a great chance that Kwesi is going to go after a quarterback of the future. And this is regardless of if we sign Kirk Cousins or whatever happens with that. I think Kwesi wants his guy, and with the reports, and who knows if they're absolutely true or not, but the reports of how much we were trying to give up to move up to get Anthony Richardson last year. And to me, and then also like, and I brought up this before, but looking really deep into all the quarterbacks in this draft, probably more than we did in the last couple. And just, there's a lot of different things, not signing Kirk Cousins to the extension last year, the writing's on the wall that Kwesi wants to go grab his quarterback. And no matter what happens here going on out, I do think that, everything's going to come down on Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi of who they select and how KOC, brings them into this offense.
And that's why I think this year is a big year for them.
This is a real fair year.
Because I think I've seen some people saying, and I don't remember if he actually absolutely said this when they got here, is that there was like a 3-year plan that they had in mind for starting out. And I mean, this is year 3, right? So it's come down to the point where you do need to figure out the quarterback situation going forward. Like, absolutely have to. And a way to get yourself out of cap hell, the best way to do is let Kirk Cousins walk, take your hit up front. And that's only if you can get your guy if you can ensure that you're going to get your guy for the future, which is a really tough thing. And that's why, obviously I do feel like Kwesi has a plan. I feel like Kwesi's had a plan. I feel like it's all part.
Hey, what up, Coach? By the way, sorry, Casey. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just saying. I think because Kwesi's not doing his job if he didn't come in here with a vision and a plan. So I do think this year is the first year we're going to see a big time implementation of his vision, not just for now, but for the future. And that all starts with how you handle the number 11 overall pick and how you handle the quarterback situation. Honestly, it's like, I know this team has a myriad of other needs, obviously, but QB1 is number 1.
Right.
Especially if you do want to stick with the competitive rebuild mantra.
Yep. And then, which I think I get why people don't like that, but I don't mind it because I think this is the year that we get to see it. I think there's at least 3-year plan for Kwesi this whole time. And this is the year I think we do see it. And I wanted to bring up this tweet right here, and I didn't look into it myself. So maybe this could be wrong, but a lot of people seem to like what's going on here. So according to the numbers over the cap, if Harrison Smith retires and the Vikings cut Garrett Bradbury and Harrison Phillips, they will have a little more than 57 million in cap space this offseason, which would be the 9th most cap space in the NFL. So at that case, if this is true, which I wouldn't be surprised if we did move on from those guys,
They get by
putting
the way,
Harrison Smith,
11 million if they cut him or he retires. They save 11
they
million.
save an 11 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money. You're 57 million. You're talking about the best cap situation we've been in years. And it's only going to get better after the whole Kirk Cousins situation gets figured out next year and whatever he's owed, all that kind of stuff. So I do think so there is a scenario where we do have enough cap space to make some moves, and Kwesi has been trying to do this, but full rebuild. See, the thing with the full rebuild is I just don't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The chance, like if you did a full rebuild, meaning you got rid of JJ, you got rid of Christian Darrisaw, you got rid of all these talents and you start over, you get a quarterback in your future who has no good players around him at all. And now you spend the next 5 to 10 years needing to grab a left tackle, needing a number 1 wide receiver, and needing all these important positions that we already have now. And that, I mean, just before we got Darrisaw, we spent the last 5-10 years trying to get a left tackle. And now we finally get it, and we're going to start all over. I think you should keep the important pieces as you can, have them around this young quarterback. I mean, I don't know. You could have 3 first-round picks, and you could use them and never get nearly enough talent that Justin Jefferson brings you by himself.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, and if you're going to develop a young quarterback, like, yes, obviously you want a good defense that keeps you in games. But I mean, if you're going to develop a quarterback, like you want to build the offense around that quarterback going to happen. Everybody on this team is young. JJ would be going into a second contract. Darrisaw would be going into a second contract. O'Neal's already on a second contract. Addison's on his rookie deal.
Right.
You have the draft. You're going to have to draft some other positions. You probably got to find another receiver or two. Maybe bring back Powell. But that's when it comes to developing a quarterback, you want to be able to plug them into an offense that's already ready to go and just needs their quarterback. Because otherwise, you end up with, like you said, a shitty offensive line. What happens then? Your quarterback gets sacked on
Carolina's the best example.
Totally destroys their confidence, right? Like you need a good offense to put your players into. And if you're going to do a full rebuild, you trade Justin Jefferson. Because I'm sorry, I know however people feel about this, like Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi need to, with Justin Jefferson, the plan needs to be, here's the plan we have in place to compete for the next 5 seasons. If you tell Justin Jefferson, we're going to start trading everybody away, trading draft picks, I'm sorry, he's not re-signing here. Like, you're in like, if he's a year 1 draftee and he's like comes out his rookie season and he's the best thing ever, at least then you still have him for 3 more seasons so you can start to work on a full rebuild with those pieces that you have. But with this team right now and all the pieces you do have in place, especially on offense, it is an offense that is fit for a rookie quarterback. And this team, the Wilfs have shown no indications of full rebuild blowing it up. They never have. Whether you love it or hate it, that's the game plan they've always come in here with. They're willing to let the GM do whatever he feels is necessary, a la signing Kirk Cousins back in 2018, if the leadership thinks it will bring them to a Super Bowl. So full rebuild, I'm sorry, it ain't happening. With Justin Jefferson, it will not happen. Otherwise, he's gone. And to be honest, from a GM's perspective, from an ownership perspective, that's a bad business decision. If your goal is to put butts in seats, getting rid of Justin Jefferson is a bad business decision.
Yeah, starting over is not. I think
not right now, not with this team, not with this team.
We have too many big pieces. People spend tons of picks to get someone like that, even though he didn't play really good that the last couple of games. But people spend a lot of picks to kind of get a left tackle. People do the same thing for wide receiver. It does there's a chance we rebuild and we just get stuck at the bottom. So at the very least, you grab your quarterback of the future now, you put him in this offense. I mean, worst case scenario, if this quarterback doesn't work out, maybe you're looking at a full rebuild or something like that. But for now, you're going to go grab a young quarterback, definitely give him the best chance to succeed. And doing a complete rebuild is not going to be that, I don't think. I think we have enough pieces. Obviously, we need some more on defense for sure. But that's all I'm gonna think here.
If you're gonna complete rebuild, you trade away every star player you have right now, and you start Jaren Hall next year. That's how you go into a complete rebuild in my mind.
Kofi, y'all are going to hate me for this, but is there a scenario where they trade back, accumulate more picks to feed up defense and draft a quarterback future in the second? Good quarterbacks will follow. I think to me,
but also I'm not sold on those quarterbacks in the second. I think they're going to need another couple seasons before, or a season at least, before they're ready to start.
Well, the main thing for me is if there's a quarterback that we like, let's say out of the top four right now with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Michael Penix. Like if all of them aren't there, like if the Vikings feel for sure like I like all of these four quarterbacks, go grab your guy. If there's a guy that you really like, go get him if you can. But if all of them are picked by the time we pick at 11, then I don't think you forced to pick Bo Nix if you believe he should go there or anything like that. And at that point, I know like Rap is like Rap and some other people are like, we do not want to trade back at all, which I do understand that because I'd rather not, but at the same time, I would rather not like just be forcing a pick or whatever. If you trade it back, it better be a good deal and a lot better than the whole Lions situation for sure.
Forcing a quarterback pick, and I know people don't like to bring up this name because they think it's lazy, but it isn't. Forcing a quarterback pick is how you end up with Christian Ponder. If you take a guy who's not
right,
I mean, because let's be real. Like just because you draft him in the first round and don't start him right away doesn't mean that in the back of his mind he knows he's a first round pick. He knows he's the future of your franchise. So unless you are 100% sold and you think this guy is worthy of that first round pick, do not take him there because that's going to be worse than if you trade back and don't get a quarterback at all, I think.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Like I'm on team, like don't force a pick, but right now, if season ended today,
go get him. Yes, I agree with that.
If the season ended today, I would take, I'm not going to be angry with whoever they would pick if it's the top four right now with Penix too, even though there is things with him. He's not to me. So there's enough things with him that does kind of scare me where I'm like, part of me is like, I don't know, but I have to look more into it. We'll find more on that tonight and I'll get a really good glimpse on how he looks at the biggest stage possible in college. So it'll be interesting one there. And obviously we'll dive into that a little bit more here in a second here, but I do want to bring this up because we're talking about Kirk Cousins. If we're talking about quarterbacks, we should bring him up. And he did have the little press conference today. This is kind of what it was about. Quarterback Kirk Cousins appears to be open to the idea of taking a hometown discount to stay in Minnesota. I think God has blessed me financially beyond my wildest dreams. So at this stage of my career, the dollars are really not what it's about. So
he said it's like, I think the way he put the quote was like, it's not the dollars, is what the dollars represent or something like that, I think is how he put it.
And yeah, and a team-friendly deal. So what are you thinking? And that's what it is. So Kirk Cousins, it does sound like he'd want to stay for the Vikings and that he'd want to take a team-friendly deal. I'm also assuming they're going to tell him like, hey, we're going to draft a quarterback. So if you're cool with being kind of that bridge guy, like I think unless we traded up and somehow got Drake May or Caleb Williams or something like that, you'd assume like they'd be like, hey, the quarterback job would be yours next year. But, the idea is for that quarterback to kind of take over at some point in the future. So I'm assuming if Kirk Cousins will definitely have to know that and still decide if he wants to take that team-friendly deal, because for me, that's what it's going to take. I mean, it's going to have to absolutely be a team-friendly deal. And for us to still go grab our quarterback, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What up, Julian?
I would say you drop 2 years, $60 million in front of him with no trade clause, nothing like that, fully guaranteed, or like, because I think I saw Purple for the Win say as well, like high guarantees in the first year, and the second year is basically just kind of a rip up contract where he's still under your control, but you can kind of do whatever you want there. You can cut him if you want to as well. But I would say 2 years, $60 million, take it or leave it. You go test the market. We're going to look forward to the draft. If you come back, great. If you don't, it is what it is. We understand it.
If he tests the market, someone's going to snag him up for sure. Like someone's going to want him at
No, but $40 million a year. But if he goes out there and he doesn't see an opportunity that he likes, like, yeah, sure, he could go somewhere and make more money. But if he doesn't love the opportunity and just thinks like, hey, I know Minnesota, I know the offense, I know the coaching staff, I know the players, I got JJ there, I could stay here, take a little less money. I got, as he said, plenty of money now. I could play there for one more season, and then after that, we'll see. But like, I mean, and if he plays really, really well, maybe we just rip up that last year of the contract or something, and he goes and signs elsewhere on his last big deal of his career. I don't know, but I would put down 2 years, $60 million in front of him, and just let him know, like, yeah, we're looking to the draft. There will be a quarterback draft this year that we believe in, and if you want to be a part of it, cool. If not, go test the market. If you don't like what you see, come back. We'll talk about it. Like that's how I play it.
That's where I'm at too. So I'm like, that's a difference though, because before,
Yeah, totally, but just for one season though. I mean, yeah, it prorates down the line. I mean, I think it's like what 10, 10, and 4 or something like that. But I don't know. I
but
just
you also make a good point. Like, obviously, moving on from him too. That's why it's got to be very team friendly, because moving on to him too, it does open up money that could go to Daniil Hunter. And
right.
like I said, if Harrison Smith, like I said, that scenario with Harrison Smith retiring, if we were to cut Gary Bradbury and Harrison Phillips, we say we will have 57 million in cap space. And then obviously that will stay that number if we don't re-sign Kirk Cousins, who would eat up 30 million of it or whatever. And then, I mean, imagine 57 million cap space without re-signing Kirk Cousins. What can you do with that?
Mm-hmm.
Including definitely keeping Daniil Hunter around, which it would probably be the play.
Right.
But
I mean, that's like,
so it
so
will
like
be interesting.
like again, and I've always, as you know, I've always been more pro than anti Kirk. I think with the right team around him, I do think he can get us to a Super Bowl. I really do. But again, with the right team around him, I get
Mhm.
that discourse can happen. It'll happen a lot during this offseason. But
Right,
where
yo.
was the shitty wreck?
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? I totally
Uh,
just completely.
Kirk Cousins and taking a pay cut.
Oh, right. Like the one thing that I would really like about him moving on would just it would be just nice to get that $28 million cap hit, just boom, done this year, and then he's not on the books anymore, and you
Yeah.
can just completely move on from it. Because I get it, if you bring him back, then it does prorate down, like I think 4 years down the line or something like that. So you see him on your cap hits for the next
Right.
3-4 years. But like,
And then you're like sitting at like a 2 to 3 years on a rookie contract with
right, yeah.
whenever you draft. So eat up. So I mean that's like kind of takes away. So it'll be interesting. I don't know
Who
what to
knows?
expect.
Maybe that's the reason why Kwesi didn't do anything with the extension last year. Maybe he's like, no, I'm done. Like we want to just be out
Kwesi's got
underneath this contract, and unless of course he comes at us with a really team friendly opportunity, which we'll see. But
yeah.
again, I think Kwesi had a plan, and I think this was his plan. Sure, his plan wasn't Kirk getting hurt this year. I think his plan was to see how far they can make it with Kirk Cousins at the helm of this team. But I do think his plan was he left every single option open for the end of the season, and that's where we're at right now. Kwesi has every option available to him. He has no obligation to Kirk. He can go get his quarterback if he wants to. Every option on the table as it comes to the quarterback position is wide open for Kwesi right now, and I think that was his plan all along with this.
Right.
Remain competitive, and yet have complete control over the future of the Vikings. And I think that it's coming to fruition right now.
Right. And that's what I think with Kwesi. And what I think they said, if a certain amount of players, I forgot what the scenario was, but if some players get cut or whatever, I forgot, maybe it was Harrison Smith or someone else, but we would only have like 8 people left on the roster from the Rick Spielman side. Like, I do think with Kwesi, and I know what people say about his analytics side and all that stuff, but I do think he has a real plan. And I do think he is probably looking at it from an analytic side of things, which isn't terrible. Because you're looking at it from a numbers game. You're looking at it from, hey, we need draft picks, we need this, we need that. And ultimately, I think he knows, like, hey, we need a franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. And I think he's going to be the guy who's going to go and grab that and give us the best chance to go get that franchise quarterback. And it could fail miserably, and it will probably be his job. But ultimately, I do think that's something that he's been planning for, and that's why I think he's going to do that. Though at the same time, again, like, unfortunately, it's not that easy because there is other teams that need quarterbacks ahead of us, and it is what it is, being at 11 wins. So it'll be interesting. Everybody got a plan until you punch in the mouth. Yeah, that's definitely true. Minnesota Sports Talk with Al. Why? Because of his. Oh, why? Because of okay. That's what you're talking about with Daniil Hunter. Why? Because of his old. He's old and he's not consistent.
He's not. I mean, he's what, 29?
Still, yeah, 29. Still, I mean, how many sacks did he have? 16,
something
14
like
and a half, something like that. That's insane.
Good.
That's the only thing. Like, if we don't have him, we literally have nothing on defense. And then, unless you really want to commit to a full rebuild, which I don't think we would. I don't personally think we should. You feel like it'd be nice to have him around, but he needs to be surrounded by better. Yeah, that's also a great point. the Vikings and their fans were punched in the mouth, and I ain't like that. And their fans,
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
I don't know, man.
I never,
I don't know, I'm excited. I think this is probably going to be one of the more interesting off seasons that we've had in probably. Well, I mean, obviously since Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell were hired, but I think this is going to be a really, really interesting off season.
yeah,
I'm
16
kind of
and a
looking
half.
forward.
Like
Just
that's
because I mean, there's a ton of huge decisions to be made here, and I want to see how Kwesi's going to handle it, and I
yeah.
want to see how Kevin O'Connell's going to handle it with the team he's going to have.
What up, Mick? Minnesota fans crave mediocrity. 2 more years of Kirk means 2 more 500 seasons with no playoff runs. We gonna mock tonight? Maybe we'll do a last second mock. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely fair, though. I do think if you leave Kirk around, it would, at this point, in my opinion, if you bring Kirk, it's not about you're just rolling with Kirk to be mediocre. I think you're trying to have a very solid quarterback, above average quarterback. Some would say probably a really good quarterback, but I'd say above average quarterback that still makes your players on the team happy, but you still go grab your quarterback of the future. And the real plan is for that guy to eventually start, and that's when you're going to be going on these Super Bowl runs, or at least hoping for. And you're using Kirk Cousins as a bridge quarterback. You're not really using Kirk Cousins as like, hey, this is our last chance for a Super Bowl or whatever.
Right. Well, and that's my viewpoint too. Like if Kirk gets re-signed, I am not going to be upset at all. But I do need to see a plan. Like there has to be some semblance of like, I mean, yeah, like there has to be a yes, you're here because we need stability at the position. But we're looking to the draft. We're going to find our guy. It's going to happen. Like I need to see that Kwesi has a plan beyond Kirk Cousins. Like it can't just be drafting. We'll wait till next year. It's like that's not good enough though, because who knows what's going to happen next year? Like you know what you have in the quarterbacks right now. You know what you have the quarterbacks this year. You tried trading up for some last year, allegedly. Who knows if it's true or not, like you said. But if you bring back Kirk Cousins, it has to be there is a plan, and you need to look beyond that. So if you bring back Kirk Cousins and you don't draft a quarterback, then I'm going to start questioning like, well, what are we really doing here? Like what is your long-term plan? Because I don't know if you have one.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is, I guess, I think the only way if they do move on from Kirk Cousins and they go in this draft and, you know, the top 4 quarterbacks are gone and they just end up missing on a chance to get one. But then at the same time, I'm assuming no matter what, you're going to see us grab a guy like even like Ryan Tannehill or something like, which I don't love Ryan Tannehill, but if he was our backup quarterback instead of Nick Mullins and Dobbs and all them, I guarantee you we make playoffs this year, whatever, even though I'm ready to kind of get a draft pick and grab our guy. But still, I do think like the reality and with KOC in this whole situation is we had a bunch of backup quarterbacks that are absolutely backup quarterbacks. Jaron Hall, who knows what he could turn into. Right now, he's definitely a backup quarterback. And then it'd be different. Like we had a low end starter, like even Tannehill or something like that could have been made a big difference. And if you do grab a quarterback, you know, I wouldn't care if we went into next season with Tannehill. Like I wouldn't really care. I mean, it'd be a lot cheaper, and he can at least get the ball to your playmakers. But ultimately, the whole plan is you have this rookie quarterback kind of waiting to take over. So, and that could always be an option. If we don't keep Kirk Cousins around, you can go get a guy like Tannehill or something, probably cost you like $20 million a year, $15 million cheaper potentially. And then, you know, your team's probably not going to be as good, but the whole point is to just have a solid guy to make guys like JJ happy, who you do have to tell like, hey, I know JJ probably kind of wants Kirk around. I mean, everything he says, mostly because he probably doesn't want the team to be completely trash. But at the same time, if you're JJ, you also understand like, hey, we do have to go grab our quarterback. I'm sure Kwesi's telling him like, I'm going to grab you. I'm going to get you a franchise quarterback because that's going to be the difference of us being a really good team or not. And I think JJ is going to want probably both, a guy that can get to the ball to him now, and then also have a plan to succeed that, and hopefully, you know, find a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everyone's on the same plan, same page here. Kwesi needs a plan. And if he doesn't have one, he's not doing his job well enough.
You always say weed is a medicine for the damn Vikings.
But I don't know. I really do think that there is a plan in place, and I think we're going to see it start this offseason. And I don't know. I'm excited, man.
Ultimately, for them too, with Kwesi and KOC, ultimately, I think year 3, I think this is the year that everything that they're trying to do happens. And I think that if things do not work out and it's obvious they failed, then I could see them on the hot seat next year. But they're going to get their shot, and I think this is their year that they're kind of planning for. Hi, JC and Case me. What's going on, too evil? What did I say weeks ago? 7-10, baby.
You
At
did.
the
You
potluck
did
and it
call
was
it.
fun. Let's go.
Hey,
Let's go.
appreciate that. We appreciate the fiver.
Gotta
Hey,
get more people
Too
next
Evil, what do you think? Who do you want them to take at 11? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, let's switch to that. So, what are we thinking at 11? We saw some people say move back. We saw Kofi say move back, get a quarterback in the second round. A lot of people are probably going to want to grab your quarterback in the future. Does that mean you trade up if you can? What scenarios do you even see where we could trade up and grab someone? Do you think Penix is going to drop? Hey, Young Smokey, thank you. Love the channel, podcast guys. Keep doing your thing. Hey, we appreciate you so much, dude. For real.
Absolutely.
For real.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that one. It's a big one.
Yeah. But what do you think? What does everybody think? What do we think with 11 round pick? What do you want, Casey?
See, here's my thing. If you identify your guy as a trade up candidate, right? And like, okay, let's see what we asked Too Evil to start this. Let's see what he said. He said, I think move up and trade with the pass.
Great cash, homie.
Thanks again, guys.
I think move up, trade with Basket Daniels for sure. Young Smokey agrees. He likes Jaden Daniels. Stick and pick quarterback or D line. I like that one as well for sure. I'm gonna be honest. He might trade down, do some dumb shit and get fired. Hey, that's also out there. Who knows? But if you're asking me, if you identify your guy, go get him. But if we're gonna stick and pick at 11, I think Skull Mafia had put this mock draft out there on Twitter earlier today. He sticked and picked at 12 and then took his second round pick, and he ended up with Michael Penix at 11. Michael Penix at 11. And Tavondre Sweat in the second round, the 365-pound defensive tackle from Texas. Just with those two picks, I would be 100% happy with that draft, and I wouldn't even need to see the rest of it to know that they won. If you get your quarterback at 11 and then pick up just an absolute game-wrecking defensive tackle, a run stuffer up the middle, 100% happy with that, and I'd be all in.
All right, I'm going to start a poll here. If we don't trade up and get May, trade back and get more picks or defense. So I want to talk about, let's talk about the quarterbacks for a second here. Is anybody, so Julian, you like Knicks here? Do you like Knicks at 11? Is anybody, what quarterback?
He said Penix or Knicks.
Penix or Knicks. Which quarterbacks are people cool with? And that's including K. Williams and Drake May, even though the chances are slim. Like what quarterbacks are you cool with picking at 11 or higher? Or which quarterbacks are you willing to trade up for? Or who are you not willing to pick at 11? And if it is 11 and let's say the top 4 quarterbacks are gone, like do you trade back? Like what do you do here?
I would say Williams, May, and I haven't seen enough of Daniels, but just from what I understand, those 3 are probably the trade up candidates. Penix. See, here's the scary thing with Penix. Like I think he could drop to 11. I think that's a safe place for him to land because of the knees. But like you said, if he comes out and he absolutely just dominates this national championship game, I do think his name might move up into that top 10 conversation.
Right.
And I'd hate to be sitting in a spot where you think you're getting him at 11 and someone jumps up to 9 and grabs him. And then you're sitting there like all top 4 quarterbacks are gone. Now what do we do?
Dude, so, I'm telling you for a fact, if he comes out and balls tonight, immediately everybody's going to be talking about him either at our pick, but even talking about maybe even having to trade up for him.
Right.
Even with all his stuff going on, like,
right. But as of right now, I would say those top 3 are the 3 you'd trade up for. Penix is the guy I would take. Penix is the guy I would take at 11. And then Knicks, to me, as of right now, again, haven't really watched enough. Young Smokey, you are coming in.
Young Smokey, coming in today. What do you guys think about the deals Quezzy made with Green Bay and Detroit, with both of them making playoffs?
It's funny. They both made the playoffs without the receivers we traded, that we let them keep.
That's a good point.
So, I don't know. Nothing of it, I guess.
Great cash, homie.
Kind of irritating me, those deals. You got TJ
Are you
from it.
kidding me with that catch, JJ?
Big Kirkle wakes up dripping like this.
You're going through all of them.
Oh, yeah, we're going through all of them. Thank you. We appreciate you, Young.
Absolutely, man, we appreciate it. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. The 2 guys...
We didn't hear that enough this year.
Yes! Yes!
Let's go. We appreciate you, man. For real.
Yeah, so that's my take. those players didn't even really contribute at the end of the season, unfortunately for them. But
yeah, that is fair. And I would say that those trades really didn't help them that much. I would say the TJ Hawkinson one might help them more because still using your second and getting Laporta, who is a stud, and then now you have a 3rd round pick from us this year. But
ultimately, it sounds like Laporta dodged serious injury. I mean, he's going to be out this week, but I think they said it was a hyperextension and a knee bruise or something like that, which that's lucky. It looked much worse than that yesterday.
Yeah, Jameson Williams, Christian Watson didn't really do anything to help those teams. So ultimately, it didn't bite us in the ass, and it could have really bad. Imagine if the Lions would have hit with that Jameson Williams moving all the way up to 12. So it kind of just didn't work out for any of us, to be honest. But let's see what we got here. I want to look at this. So I just put move up. I put what should the Vikings do with the 11th pick? Stay put, trade back, move up. 9% said trade back, 27% said stay put, and 64% says move up.
I like it.
Move up. It's not who those teams picked, but players that we missed on. That's a fair point.
Well, right, yeah. It was against Smokey's point, but it is a.
That didn't help them, the other teams win or whatever, but it did. Obviously, it hurt us. We can go all day about who we should have picked at 12.
Kyle Hamilton is kind of number one.
And there's probably a lot more picks than even just him. I mean, that trade was terrible. The one with the Packers, I don't know. It wasn't the worst thing ever. I don't think Christian Watson's that good, so it didn't really matter. But Andrew Booth, we thought was going to be something, and Ed Ingram. But I still can't believe what we got for moving from 12 to 32. And especially the fact that it ended up being the Lions. Kofi Mayer, I'm trading back to get more picks and help the defense. Penix has 2 ACLs on the same knee. Yes. Williams is a hothead. Daniels is overrated. JJ Ward can sit and learn and take over after.
But why is Daniels overrated? I want to know. What's the overrated facets of his game?
It's probably just that he kind of really blew up this year.
You see that every year, though.
I think it's a lot of. I think people see that he's a running quarterback, and then the people. Sorry, Kofi, I know it's you who like pocket, like normal pocket quarterbacks. You see a guy who has a bunch of yards, and then you question whether you see a guy who has 1,000 yards, and you're like, he's going to be run first. That scares me, and I don't want that. Even though he's. No, and that's the biggest thing for him that people say is the way he's been able to command the offense and the way he's been able to be a pocket passing quarterback this year. Those are the things that people say that was the huge difference compared to him in years past in this one. And the reason why he's getting this extra hype.
We got Smokey with another 499er every time I watch Kyle.
Thank you, young Smokey. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. We really appreciate that. Yeah, that's always.
Yeah, dude.
That's the one thing I think that's if Kwesi ends up getting fired after before however many seasons, I think the biggest thing is going to be because of that.
Let's go, young Smokey. Appreciate you, dude. I don't think Daniil is overrated.
Us over here, my man. You're spoiling us.
Daniels is overrated. 40 touchdowns to less than 500. Yeah, and that's the thing with him is, I think that's a hard thing with him, and I need to look at him more specifically and see how when he decides to make his runs and stuff.
But I mean, he has 40 passing touchdowns and however many yards. You can't deny that he can throw the football. That's the biggest thing.
Right. So I mean, he could, and he has a skinny frame. I think people will say that for sure. Yeah. But I mean, dude, I'm on team. If we go trade up for one of those at this point, I'd maybe trade up for a couple picks for Penix, but Penix scares me. Penix does scares me. Heisman trophies really don't do well.
That is true. That is true. Which again, but then again, my issue with CJ Stroud last year. Ohio State quarterbacks never succeed. Yeah. Look at him now. You got
to take those with a grain of salt. Even though I get what you're saying, but of course, it's more of a myth than it is that's a factual thing. What's going on, Angler?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, another Packer.
Congratulations on your playoff berth.
Not too much. I'm not going to congratulate you. Let's get a 6'5" O-line that can do everything. That's my type of O-line. Yeah,
with this type of offense, that would be great. With this type, And that's what I said. Like Garrett Bradbury is a solid center for a run first offense, but when you're a pass happy offense like O'Connell wants to run with 7-step drops, yeah, you can't be having a weak
Dude,
offense.
Stroud looks really good. Like, it's extremely impressive what Stroud. I mean, it's obvious when Stroud was hurt, Houston took a big step back in those games without him. So that guy, he's fucking good. He's legit good. And we just need to go find one. We just need to go find a Stroud.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gary, of course, the OG.
Boy, Gary,
Absolutely,
$20. Gary. Love you guys, dude.
We appreciate that, man. We appreciate the dono.
You guys are killing it for us tonight, and we appreciate it big time.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it big time. We'll get some of these in here.
Big Kirkle wakes up dripping.
Are you kidding me with that catch, JJ?
There we go.
What do you want, Gary? Which
there we go.
Great cash,
homie. Cash, homie. And
yes.
Oh yeah, one more time.
Yes.
There we go. There we go.
Cash, homie.
Packers to the Super Bowl. I don't necessarily know about that one.
Nah.
I don't know.
They ain't going to the Super Bowl. Jordan Love ain't that guy. I don't care what anybody says.
The other Packers fan is telling you to cool it, then you should probably cool it.
Don't say that. Don't want that bad luck.
Yeah. I do got to say, though, hopefully coming from a Vikings fans perspective, this will ruin him. Jordan Love, yeah, he has a couple overthrows, but he's not as bad as I thought he was. Yet. He'll prove it, though. He'll prove he's not that great.
All right, we're gonna get I'm gonna do
a big knee brace. I don't know though. I mean, the thing is, Penix has been healthy for the last couple seasons. The playoff game, they let him run a little bit, like some designed runs. I don't know, man. I think he trusts the knee. I really do. And I think now that he's been hurt enough, I think he's smart enough to know when to avoid taking the hit that might cause again. I think he'll slide when he needs to. I don't think he'll take any of those bad hits that might lead to another ACL injury. I don't know, man. I feel pretty good about him. I feel good about him. Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting. We got a 20 bomb from Joey here.
Dude, fucking Joey.
But this one, bro. Jamie, we need your undivided attention for this one. This is actually a good point.
Let me give me 1 sec. I'm just getting a poll up. It's for the quarterbacks. So it'll be a good one.
Joey wants to know. I'll let you think about this one for a sec. Kwesi's direction versus Poles' direction. Discuss. And I think the rumor out there is that was a big reason why Poles chose the Bears was because the Wilfs told him we're not going to blow it up completely. Like, we want to remain competitive and try to do it slowly. And I think when he turned that down, Kwesi's direction is definitely one of, like, if I'm the Wilfs, I think the Wilfs looked at him and was like, this is a little bit different. He might have some fresh ideas, might have some different ways for us to kind of do what we want to do in the form that in the mindset that we want to do it. So it is interesting, but Poles is definitely more of a blow it up and start over, which is why I do kind of think that they will move on from Justin Fields. And I think Poles will get his own quarterback. But I think Kwesi's situation was a little bit more difficult because he wasn't allowed by ownership to completely blow it up. And B, he has a kind of a salary cap issue that he's trying to fight. Yeah. So it's a good point.
Yeah. Thank you, Joey.
Great cash.
Sure, we appreciate it.
Our fucking guy. Our fucking guys. You guys are fucking doing this for us tonight. We love it.
Back to pass. Fires to the end zone. Yes. Yes.
Right, let's go. To answer that question, I think Poles got the luckiest situation of all time by GM. Though he did make the perfect
making that trade was
money, but the fact that he got the first overall pick in the draft, especially with Houston, even though they could have there's a chance that they maybe could have got the same haul anyways if they got the second pick, but with Houston winning the last game of the season and then them end up getting the first overall pick, obviously the trade with Panthers was huge. And then again, though, I mean, you still aren't like thinking like the Panthers are going to be the worst team in the NFL. So there's no question that I think Poles was put in a far better situation than Kwesi has up to this point. As far as who he's been drafting or anything like that, is there anybody for the Bears that is really standing out?
From a draft perspective?
I
mean, it's honestly for who's standing out for them, it's more of the trades that they've made. Like trading for DJ Moore.
It's a good point. It is a good point, Joey.
He didn't get fleeced by.
But he also didn't have the first overall pick. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that was a no-brainer for the Bears.
Yeah.
I don't know why Kwesi did that, but that was obviously a no. brainer for the Bears.
But again, and the thing is, I mean, and they come from different backgrounds. That was also because, I mean, obviously
Right.
Poles was the guy, he came up through the scouting ranks where Kwesi came up on Wall Street and then got a job as kind of like a behind the scenes type guy with the 49ers and then moved up his way through the Browns and the 49ers organizations. And eventually, like, he never had like that personnel scouting type role. So I think that's why you don't see him do things the same way. And again, am I saying it's right? No. Like, I think but that's the biggest thing is I don't want to take the fact that he made a bad trade 2 years ago and judge how he's going to do it if he were to trade back again. I do. You hope a guy that smart has learned a thing or two about value of trades and whatnot from what he did a couple years ago. So I don't know. I think I still think again, I think it's too early to give up on him as well. I think I want to see what his plans are now that he at this point is free of any sort of big quarterback contracts. Some of these guys he can get rid of. He got rid of Delvin last year. He got rid of Delvin Tomlinson. He can get rid of Harrison Smith. Like, he can start getting rid of these players, freeing up cap space. And sure, he made some odd signings last year, but the big thing is with Murphy and with Davenport, they don't need to come back this year. They were basically one year deals with some Band-Aid years at the end of it. So I don't know. I think there's a plan in place, and I think we're going to see it from Kwesi. Yeah. And I think he's had to have learned a couple things from these last couple seasons.
Yeah, and I would say I think Poles was in a far better position from getting picks and all that kind of stuff. I don't think any of his. I can't really think of a single draft pick right now that kind of worked out for them yet. But at the same time, I mean, there's no question that with Kwesi, he has to prove it this year. This is a prove it off season for Kwesi. If he doesn't step up, then obviously we'll definitely be questioning him. And you do have to worry a little bit of how he's going to draft, but I think this is his year. And I think it's going to start with that 11th pick, and hopefully it is a quarterback, and hopefully, we move up here. But Daniels, in my opinion, is better than Caleb. I'll have to keep looking at these guys.
Hold on, we got another 999.
Hey,
Young Smokey.
Thank you, Young Smokey, dude.
Jane
Appreciate you. Cole says we want Jane Daniels. I'm 100% okay with that. Good job, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
you. Let me get some sounds here.
Great cash, homie.
Is that our intro?
It is our intro, yeah. There you go.
Are you kidding me with that catch?
Here, we'll hit this. We'll hit the beat right here.
There we go. Love it. Man, appreciate you hopping in. Appreciate the
dude. We appreciate all of you guys in here for real and doing that for us. It's big. Caleb Williams, though, in my opinion, Caleb Williams is one of the most talented quarterbacks that come into the draft. So here it is. Let's go. Appreciate you, Young Smokey. Appreciate everybody that threw some money down. Appreciate all of you guys for being in here. Let's go. But speaking of these quarterbacks, let's switch back to
I was going to say, I can't hear you. You need to shut the music down.
Let's switch back to the game tonight, national championship, Michigan versus Washington, with Michael Penix, who definitely could be there around our pick. Maybe depending on how he looks tonight, I think you're going to either see Vikings fans like, I don't think he's going to, I don't know if we want to pick him there. Or if he balls out tonight, I think you're going to see a lot of Vikings fans like wanting to go get Michael Penix. And then on the other side with JJ McCarthy, a guy who is borderline, I would say he's top of the second round right now, but if he ends up winning this game, then he balls out. Like, you see him going into the first probably, but still, I don't think you pick him at your 11th pick, but should be interesting. Angler, I do think that's fair. The thing with Caleb Williams was the report saying that he wanted part ownership of these teams, and that threw me off for sure. I don't know how real that is or how true that is. I'm sure we'll hear in the offseason, and that is a little worrisome to me. But still, that guy can do stuff that should not be possible. And then, it's hard to move on from that, in my opinion. But hey, who knows for sure.
And then I just want to go back to Julian's comment up here. I think Murphy signed a 2 or 3 year deal. He did sign a 2-year deal, but if I remember right,
it was like a 1 year. It was like meant to be.
It's like a 2-year deal with some. Here, let me see if I can pull up the contract actually. If this thing will just let me do it.
Right. Oh, hey. Facts. After this show for sure. I'm going to get some good cards for giveaways. 100%.
Let's see. So 2024. Let's see. Yeah, I believe you can potential out at 2024 1 year, We'd get so I think we'd save 8.6 million. It'd be 5.6 dead against the cap if we cut him. So I mean, there is an out after this season.
So I will say this. First off, that's a good point. That there's that out with Murphy. So it's pretty much 1 year then. Correct?
From what I understand,
Yeah.
yes.
So that poll did end up being, who would you rather have, Vikings next quarterback? 8% Caleb Williams, 31% Drake May, 50% Jaden Daniels, just switched up a little bit, and then 14% Michael Penix. Sorry guys, I want to do this. Sorry guys, I'm betting on Washington. Hey, we're team Washington. I'm honestly surprised on the lack of Minnesota people not going against Michigan. I mean, they're
with college football, it's not as big of a deal as pros, but
I mean, still like Ohio State for sure, though, right? Like nobody wants Ohio State. Definitely Big Ten team. Michigan, that's still Big Ten team. Like, I don't know. I ain't rooting for Michigan. Hey, what up, Skull State of mine? I'm team Washington here. I want to see Michael Penix. He's the guy who's most likely, if he balls out. Well, I mean, he could ball out enough where it's going to make it more difficult to grab him. But at the same time, at least it will be reassurance like, hey, he's worth maybe going and grab. And I'd like to see that instead of him having an awful game and then his draft stock and then us picking him, I guess. But I'd like to go. I want to see the biggest thing for me in this game, because I don't really care about either of the teams, is I just want Penix to ball out. That's what I want to see.
Michigan's
I want to see Penix
by 5.5 points.
Who is?
Michigan?
Michigan?
Is that accurate?
Well, perfect.
Yeah, Michigan's 5.5 point favorites.
Have Michael Penix come in and win this game, being the non-favorite.
Yeah, man. Dude, I don't know, man. I just every time and again, like you said, I haven't watched enough, but every time I've watched Michael Penix play, man, it's pretty great. It's just fun to watch him, man. He's got the ball explodes off his hand, accurate. Like with
the ACL thing,
you got like a top 10 pick easy.
Yeah.
Injuries,
injuries. His mobility still is a question. I need to look specifically into that.
I mean, knee injuries don't help the mobility.
Yeah, I know. So that scares me. I don't want a guy who's just going to be a statue. Not that he showed more than that. And I'm going to be paying a lot of attention tonight and stuff. But that's something I want to see. Like, you need to be able to move a little bit. Like, unlike Kirk Cousins or Nick Mullins, where they couldn't move a freaking anywhere. It's just like, if there's pressure, you're just gonna get sacked. Throw the ball away, you're just getting sacked. That's it. That's your two options.
How many sacks did Penix take this year? 10 sacks this year he took.
Oh, what did I do here? Get another poll here.
You're rolling with the polls tonight, my man.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it tonight. I mean, if they're feeling it, I'm feeling it. Let's fucking go.
For sure. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really good game tonight. I mean, I don't know. I just have a feeling, man. I have a feeling it's going to be close till the fourth quarter, and Washington's gonna pull away. I really do.
What about both Harbaugh brothers win championships this year?
It could happen. I mean, obviously, it could happen. Yeah.
I mean, it might, dude. Lamar Jackson's been looking pretty good this year.
Honestly, and me, as you know, I'm not a huge Lamar Jackson guy, right? But this year, he's stayed healthy.
Let's go.
He's made some throws. Impressive. He's looked a lot better this year than he did last year. I think I don't know, like what I've seen from him this year for sure.
Right now we got Washington. 50-50 between just 4 votes, but 50 Michigan and Washington.
I think it's gonna be a really good. It's be a really good game. Really fun to watch tonight for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's just exciting because, especially this one, because we're in a position where honestly both these guys are a real possibility. I don't think JJ McCarthy at pick 11, but if we end up passing up on a quarterback with that pick, with our next pick, I mean, maybe we do trade up for JJ McCarthy or let him drop to us, depending on, I think if he balls out tonight and they win, you feel like he'll definitely get some first round hype. Who knows how it really roll out. But there's a real possibility. I mean, we probably go Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy. If you want to pick a guy in the second round, you feel like it's got to be one of those two. Mm-hmm. So that's what's so interesting about this one. And the fact that we think we're going to grab a quarterback, we get to go into this game and we get to watch them because one of those guys could possibly be our quarterback next year. I still feel like I'd rather go grab Jaden Daniels or something, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
for sure.
Lamar has definitely proved with his decision-making, pocket awareness, and passing, in my opinion. Yeah, I do for sure.
Mhm.
GG Sports championship game and killer venison
Ooh,
lasagna.
venison
Great
lasagna.
night. Let's go. Venison lasagna. That sounds pretty
good.
damn good.
Kinda good.
Dude, let's go. Yeah,
Trying to
it's gonna
decide
be
if I
good.
want to crack a cold one for the game tonight. I'm kind of feeling it, but also
Ooh.
I shouldn't.
I don't have
Only,
any.
It's only Monday.
It's only the first day of the pretty technically.
Yep, pretty much.
All right, so far we got Michigan, 9 votes, 56% has Michigan right now, 44% Washington. Yeah, we're getting some leaners towards Michigan, 60% Michigan. I'm going Washington. Mostly for me, I am someone, I'm not even a big Gophers guy, but like, I don't know. If they're in our same conference or whatever, I'm going to say, yeah, screw Michigan.
I mean, Gophers getting the best player in the state, won the freaking like high school MVP for like the high school bowl thing.
Right.
Like, telling you, man, watch out. Totally unrelated to what we were talking about.
That is exciting.
Let's go Minnesota,
that's from,
baby.
Who's from Casey's
town.
neck of the woods.
Yep. Not a lot going on there except for
and that's being actually
football players.
That's being real, like for your neck of the woods, and by that, like actual woods.
Yeah, it's out in the middle. I mean,
I gotta go Big Ten. So you roll with Big Ten, a Big Ten team, since the Gophers are part of the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm. I want Washington, but think that Michigan will take it. I do think Michigan definitely has the better defense. That's for sure.
Is there a guy really named Lasagna and Killer Venison Lasagna?
Not quite.
Casey, who committed to Gophers?
It's his name is Coy Parrish. He's a Esco kid. That's where I went to high school. It's up in the middle of nowhere. There's not a lot of people.
Right above Duluth.
What's the what's the population?
Right south of Duluth. When are you two guys going to fight Rap and Justin in the cage? When are you guys two going to fight Rap and Justin in the cage?
As of 2020, the a little over 2,200 people live in Esco.
Yeah,
very small.
Hey, Too Evil, we're still trying to come up to an agreement on payouts for that.
On what?
On our fight with Rap and Justin in the cage.
Oh right, yeah, that one.
Of course, obviously.
Jamie, the prize fighter on my side here. We're good.
I don't know what their backgrounds are.
What position? He's
safety.
Well, he was like safety, some offense, and kick returner in high school. But he's gonna go be a safety for the Gophers. And there's a spot open with Tyler Newbin going to the draft, so I think he'll get a.
Hey, what up, JJ?
What's going on, JJ?
Hey, dude, your guest.
You are killing it with the guests as of late, man. Absolutely, love to see it.
Dylan Reisner and Slaughter.
Yeah, when are you gonna send them our way?
No, that's so cool, JJ. That's awesome, buddy. I'm proud of you and happy for you, bro. So Michigan, I think this is final. I mean, 58%, Washington 42%. I'm going into this game rooting for Michael Penix. That's what I want to see. That's how I'm gonna watch it, and hopefully he's good.
Hey, appreciate that. Hey,
JJ. Dude, we appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I mean, anything else? We could do a mock, but
we got like 20 minutes till game time. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's more than that. Usually they
we'll do one round. We'll do one round.
11th pick to use there at 12 or 11.
Stay at 11. Whatever happens. That's how we'll roll this out.
Want to pull it up? You want me to?
You can do it. I'll let you run the show this time. Maybe we should do 3 since we're gonna give you the chance to run the show here. Since I messed it up for you last time.
How'd you mess it up last time again?
Because I traded back and didn't get your sweat guy.
You've
been sick?
That's right.
Pop Gary, I forgot to tell you guys this. So I was talking to this one girl at school until I realized she was interested in someone else.
Oh, dude. I feel
I'm feeling better now. Appreciate it.
I feel you,
no cards tonight, JJ. No cards. I ran out, but hey, we got some hookups today, so I'm definitely gonna get some good ones. I mean, I do have a Lewisine auto. If I can find that, I'll give that away. But I don't know if anybody wants it at this point.
So we're doing 3 rounds, you said?
All right, JJ, by the way, keep your head up, dude. Hey, there's no question. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff, difficulties with girls and stuff like that, but there's no question in my mind you're going to be killing it in the near future. Trade up and get May, or fire yourself and trade back, or fire yourself and trade back. That's the only two options Kofi's got.
I do remember Kofi gave us a lot of shit for our mock drafts last year, so we'll see how this one goes. So 3
Just because
rounds
we wanted quarterbacks every
on
time.
slow. Ready? And draft. All right, we're just gonna let it go to pick. Are we just gonna let it go to pick 11?
Yeah, I think we just. This is your pick. This is your
Caleb
draft.
Williams, Drake May, 2 quarterbacks taken already. Marvin
Daniels
Harris.
is-
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Joe Alt, another
There's
Minnesota
a good
guy.
chance. So the
Joe
next
Alt-
one for Daniels will be the Falcons, probably.
Joe Alt, by the way, another Minnesota guy. Dallas Turner, really
Ooh,
good
let's
edge
go.
rusher.
All right.
Malik Neighbors,
This
that's
is
a
it.
good pick
This
there.
is Daniels right here. Nope. All right. Daniels is going to fall into our pocket here.
Ooh, Romo. Oh, that would scare me a lot. They get Caleb Williams and they get Romo
Trade
Dunze.
offers. Pick
Scary.
43. Nah.
Fuck no.
Reject.
We ain't looking.
Get that out of
This
here.
though.
Absolutely, Gary. Just keep your head up, JJ. You're doing great things out here for your age. It blows my mind every single time I see you make a video.
All right. So what do you think? What do you think about this one? So we can have our quarterback of the future, right? We got him at 11.
So you're not taking Daniels here, Kofi?
But we got it. So we could trade back at 18 and another second rounder. And all we give up is 104.
I'm taking if
Are
this
you
was
just,
me,
are you just
I'm
right
taking
here?
Daniels.
You're just grabbing the quarterback.
In real life, I mean, you can mess around on this one. In real life, I mean, the chances that Daniels would ever fall to us seem almost impossible at this point in the offseason. Who knows? Hell no, I lost May.
Yeah.
Chances of getting May is going to be so slim. If I become rich in the near future, I'm talking Papa Gary on a cruise and we going fishing. Let's go.
I mean, because if you look at the teams underneath us, and this is probably who tried to trade with us was
Take
the Bengals.
Daniels Quezzy Jr. Dude, hey, we appreciate you, JJ, keeping us in mind, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. But I mean, Denver Raiders could draft quarterback. Colts, no. Seahawks. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't feel comfortable going down to 18 here. I think we just.
I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
I think we just grab our guy at pick.
Do they have Michael Penix behind JJ McCarthy and all of them?
Even. Well, yeah, that's
holy
stupid.
cow.
But yeah, we'll just grab Jaden Daniels here. Same as the last one.
Facts, Gary. Facts.
What else?
All right, we're grabbing Daniels.
Cooper DeJean. By the way, do you know what would be interesting about Cooper DeJean if he is drafted in the first round?
What's that?
The first white cornerback drafted in a very, very long time.
Since 2003 or something like that. Trade back. What happened to Penix and JJ McCarthy? No, we got to roll with Daniels.
Yeah.
If Daniels is there at
Saints.
we aren't even going to wait for Daniels. In real life, if Daniels makes it past the Patriots, I bet you any money you see us trade up.
Kool-Aid McKinstry going 21. That's low for what I've seen for him as of late. Jared Verse at 20.
White cornerbacks are illegal.
Oh, goodness. Keon Coleman. See, now there's getting to some names that I don't. Adonai Mitchell. I know that guy from Texas. Probably should have gone a little bit faster. I wasn't even thinking about that.
This one's a snail one.
It is. I put it on slow.
At least, hey, we got to remember these names.
Absolutely. Trayvon Henderson.
See that Travion Henderson, if somehow he was there for our second round pick, even though if we really should go, we really should go defense. But he's coming out of high school, he was one of the most hyped running backs coming out.
Tyler Nubin, Gopher, going to the Chargers. Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson. Where do we pick next, Steven?
Right here.
Okay, right after.
And that's our last pick, unless you traded.
No. And no.
Jets.
And
is Penix still out there? Is Penix still out there?
He better not be. If he's out there, what the hell's going on?
He is.
He is what?
Dude, PFF. This is
Pro Football Network.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We'll take 2 quarterbacks. And
hey, dude, what do you guys think about that? Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix. What's the chances they both suck? You know.
But if it's me, and I didn't get my choice last time, I'm taking Devondre Sweat.
Dang, they have him at 37 on here, and the other one there's like 60 something.
So we loaded up. We have our quarterback of the future and a 360-pound behemoth on the interior of our defensive line.
Bro, right now I can already tell you this offseason's been one day, and if that happens in April, I think everybody would be pumped up. Or I would go crazy, honestly. I have a feeling Sweat with everybody, what everyone's saying about that Sweat guy, something tells me that dude's going to end up going in the first round or something.
He's huge, man. That's the type of guy you want.
I told y'all trade back could have gotten Penix or JJ in the second. Y'all are so fired.
How would we be fired?
Michael Penix in the
Daniels?
second would have been pretty insane. But
how would we be like if you believe in Jaden Daniels and he's there at 11, you take him 100%. If your quarterback is there, you take him at that spot.
Yeah, you got to go grab your guy. Even though I know Kofi doesn't think he's a quarterback, which could be fair. Oh, wait a second. So for the game tonight, who do you want to win the Natty? Michigan or Washington? We are split 50-50. That's how it's going to end for real. Y'all are really going to end this with us splitting 50-50.
Come on now.
We need one more vote.
Hey, Young Smokey, thank you for another.
Thank you, Smokey.
Man. We appreciate that.
Dude,
I like
appreciate you so much,
Absolutely,
dude. I like
man.
the picks, Daniels and Sweat. Let's go.
We're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here as it approaches the end of the third round.
Oh, Casey's gonna try to move up.
Straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. Straight
Never
cash,
mind.
homie.
I was gonna try to trade up for another quarterback, and Penix just got taken. So
That's
we're good.
an A+ draft, dude. I'm liking this draft for real. Obviously, if you could get Penix, there's 0% that's happening. I don't even know how this website has him ranked that low, but I'm taking Daniels there. And if you got Penix in the second round, yeah, that would be insane. I would easily do that. I feel more than confident if we were able to get him in the second round.
Right, absolutely.
Let me ask you guys, how many set quarterbacks throw 40 touchdowns to less than 5 interceptions? S tier draft, dude. Let's go. That's what we want to see. Yeah, not a lot. I mean, you don't really see a lot of quarterbacks ever throw 40 touchdowns with 5 interceptions. And then, I mean, let's be honest. Like, you add in, how many rushing yards did he end up having? Let me go look him up real quick on PFF.
I think he had like 1,100 or something like that. So there we go. Jaden Daniels, number 11. T'Vondre Sweat, number 42. A+ draft. Vikings win the Super Bowl. It's over. It's done.
Let's go.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Easy A+. Let me look at this real quick here. I don't know how I got on here. All right, let's look here. This thing's a little weird at first. I'm going to go check out his stuff here. So, are you not going to let me look at him, dude? Maybe I click premium stats. There it is. So, yeah. 7 total passes, 425 passes, 67 run. All right, we need to get passing here. There we go. So 322 attempts, 332 attempts, 236, 71.1 completion, 3,811 yards, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I thought he did have 5, but maybe it was only 4. 94.7 offensive grade, 92 passing grade, 92.4 running grade. Let's go see what he did on running. And PFF takes out the minusing yards for sacks. So this will be like NFL rushing type of yards right here. And 1,250. So you're talking about a quarterback in the sec who had 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and over 1,000 yards on the ground. That's something you never hear about. Straight up. And then that completion percentage too, it's over 70%. I mean, definitely understand why he's getting all this hype right now, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, anything else? I suppose it's getting pretty close to game time here. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so obviously, as we all know, Viking season did officially end yesterday, lost to Detroit, but there's going to be a ton of exciting content this offseason, ton of decisions for the front office to make. I think this is going to be one of the more exciting off seasons from a player perspective we've seen in a long time. And yeah, man, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. So thanks everybody for hopping in here with us tonight. Enjoy the national title game. If you watch that, be sure to stick around to our channel as well as all the other channels that we do content with. A lot of exciting stuff going on this offseason. There's going to be a ton of content. So thanks you guys for hopping in.
Dude,
anybody that donated tonight, we appreciate
thank you
you.
so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you
That's
so
huge
much.
for us.
Young Smokey, we appreciate you, bro. We
Absolutely,
appreciate
man.
you, Gary. Appreciate you, Joey.
Joey.
Appreciate you, Too Evil. Always
Evil,
coming
of
in here
course.
and throwing a little bit at us every single time. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody else in here to talk about this, man. We're excited for the off season. I think everybody is, and we think this is going to be a really fun one. Let's fucking go.
Absolutely. So thanks everybody for watching. See you next time.